you feel like you need to invest. And yes, invest in yourself, but you don't need all of this expensive equipment to start.
So you're using social media to build the thing, not for it to be the thing. If I don't learn branding in 2019, if I don't learn AI, none of what I do matters and none of what I do happens. And in addition, I can also charge more money for my services and for my knowledge.
I think the reason why that's so valuable is when you position yourself as a student, people will allow you to learn.
Most creators waste their first $1,000 on the wrong things. Fancy cameras, expensive courses, or random tools.
We're about to show you exactly how to invest that money so you can make money back. And no, you don't need a $1,500 camera or a $300 course, at least not yet. So, Sarah, opening this conversation, I know we had a lot of things that we didn't necessarily need. A lot of stuff right now that we don't even use.
No.
When we first started working together, building together, we just came together with, oh, you have this light, and I have that light, and we have all these lights, and this microphone, and that mic, it's all of these things. And I think what happens, and it's almost sort of a analysis paralysis in a lot of ways, because you want to be successful, so you feel like you need to invest. And yes, invest in yourself, but you don't need all of this expensive equipment to start. Let's talk about why that is such a huge mistake for people starting their creator businesses.
I think about the early part of my career, and I thought that in order to be successful, or my image of success based on the algorithm and what it was feeding me because of what I like, I thought that everyone had all the expensive stuff, which means, duh, I have to have it.
Facts.
Because if like Becky got it and Joanna got it and Kevin got it, like I have to, in order to keep up with the standard of what I believe social media to be, I thought I had to have that.
Right.
So I went out and I bought the 7 A6000, and then it was the, actually I think I started with the Sony A5400 or 5500 or whatever it is. Then I thought, okay, cool, I'm gonna get the next one. So then it was the A6000. I never actually learned how to use the camera. Either of them.
Why am I not surprised by that? Why am I not surprised?
Because
I
bought
like,
it.
Somebody figured it out.
Someone figure it out. And then I went and asked my friends, and I thought somebody, or Best Buy, or so, like someone
That's
somewhere would
hilarious.
help me figure out how to use this damn camera.
Right.
And so I never even used those cameras to the best of their capabilities or abilities because I didn't know how to use it. And to be honest, the truth is, I don't even know if I wanted to.
Do you know how to use the camera that we currently have?
I do not. I know how to turn
This
it
is
on
crazy
because
work.
what I do know is that someone here set the camera up with all the settings, because then I could just point and click if I'm by myself.
Right.
See, and I'm
Right.
using this camera now. I use it every day. But see, what had happened was I had to ask some people, and then I had to get a business partner who knew how to use the stuff
Right.
to set it up for me, so that once I got there, then now my content is impeccable. Anyway,
Yeah.
I said all that to say, so I had all of these cameras. I think I had, when you and I met, I had 3 cameras, and
Yep.
then I had the stands, I had all the fancy equipment, I have all the fancy lighting, even have the non-expensive, like I have the Newers, and I remember there's like $300 umbrella lights that are in the office. When I say the backgrounds, the green screen, the thingy where I could like flip the thing, I think I used it twice in the 5 years I've had it.
That's crazy.
There's probably thousands of dollars worth of equipment that I just did not use.
There's no probably. There is.
Okay, don't judge.
I synced it.
Don't judge me. But I'm telling you all this because the number one tool that I use above all else is my phone.
Yep.
I edit on my phone. I shoot on my phone. It's the convenience of it, and also the idea of having to always take out my camera and all this expensive lighting and stuff was incredibly inconvenient to the actual shooting. And so if I was shooting based on my motivation or how I felt in that moment, or if I had an idea, a concept, or a script that I was thinking about, the idea of having to go pull all of those things is just too much goddamn work. And so my thought was, let me use my phone, I can be consistent, and it helps to drive more traffic to my business, to my content, to my pages, which then of course leads to revenue and monetization. But I did that from the convenience of my phone. I literally built a 7-figure brand from my phone.
That's facts. I just want a little piece of that. That's it. Just a little piece.
But I mean, even
Look, break me off a piece of that Kit Kat.
listen, I got you.
Yeah.
What I think about too is like you had mentioned when we met and then we talked about creating this business and then we realized, okay, well, I don't have this piece of equipment, but you had it.
Yep.
How much equipment did you have that we were able to actually like combine and join forces with?
There's so much stuff that I don't even know what's mine and what's yours. Now it just belongs to Mavis.
Ours.
Like I have no idea.
Yours,
Right,
mine,
right.
ours.
But what's fascinating now is both of us had multiple cameras.
We did.
And we don't use either one of those cameras. In fact, the first episode of BYOB that we shot was on our phones.
It was.
So if you
Oh,
go back and
yes.
look,
Yes.
those video or that video, maybe the first few were shot on our phones.
On our phones.
And what goes beyond even just the equipment, because you could really do a lot of this with your phone. You can't necessarily do everything on your phone. Obviously, we're shooting with a different camera now,
Right.
but you can do so much on your phone at least to get started. But another thing, and I know you talk about this a lot, is people are so tired of courses.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of being tired of courses, I believe there's a lot of value in courses, but they have to be the right courses, which we'll talk a little bit about a little later. But they buy these courses, but they don't have systems to implement, and so you feel like you wasted your money.
Right.
I remember the first course that I bought for social media because there's this guy, I can't remember his name, Coach Mike or whatever it is. And I was in this course and I'm learning, and I'm starting to do a lot of the things that he was teaching in his course from a marketing perspective.
Yeah.
And we learned about some of the tools that he used, like Teachable, to build his courses. And I'm looking at all of these things, but I don't feel like I was getting value. And it's not because of the course itself, it was because I didn't have anything to drive people to as a result of what I was putting out there. So I was creating a certain type of content based on what I was taught, but it wasn't leading anywhere. Yes, it got followers, but it didn't necessarily mean anything because I was driving them just to my page and then they disappear. And I think a lot of times that's what happens as creators, which we've talked about several different times before, is you don't have a system in place that allows you to really build. And you're focused more on vanity metrics than you are on revenue drivers.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about why that might be a problem for creators. And when I say creators, I'm also speaking about creator businesses.
You know, even just to take a quick step back, when I think about all the courses that I purchased, and this is a known statistic, 80% of people who take courses don't finish it.
Yep.
And so the concept or the idea of paying $300 for a course most of you will not finish is wild.
Yep.
Then there's the 20% who will finish it, and at least 15% of them won't actually implement what they learned. Then you have the other 5%. And from that 5%, what I think about is, was that even the right course? How did you determine if that was the right course for you or not? And if you picked that course based on what you think you needed and not based on where you are systematically in your business or the infrastructure that you either already have or will create and should have likely created before you took the course, a lot of the frustration that I see with creators or creator businesses who take courses and then you end up with bad reviews or you feel like you didn't get enough out of it is because you weren't necessarily doing the correct work prior to taking the course,
Yep.
nor are you implementing it in a way that works for you and your business, but you're just copying and pasting what the course instructor said.
Yep. Yeah.
The point of the course is just for it to be inspirational and to take the tools or the information to apply it and to then build a system that works for you, not for it to be a copy and paste with the hopes that it's going to work for you the exact same way that it did for the course creator.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense because it speaks exactly to what I was just talking about. And if you're new here, just to give you a little bit more background on us, Sarah has been fortunate enough to build a 7-figure business from creating content. And my background has allowed us to help creators, business owners across multiple industries sell 6 figures in 6 and 7 figures, whether it's film or people building retreats, all sorts of things, just because of what we understand about creating, building a business and marketing. But we've been so fortunate to work with some incredible people in understanding how to cater their messaging to drive people to essentially where they want them to go, to purchase a film, watch a video on demand, or to buy their experience for a retreat. And I think one of the incredible things about that is, even if you are amazing at what you do, if it's not marketed the right way, then that in itself can become an issue. But beyond the marketing and beyond understanding that is, if there's no sort of funnel for people to go down, whether it's purchasing video on demand or going to say, hey, I want to be a part of this community, and building out surveys, which we'll talk a little bit in a second about that, building surveys to understand what your community, what your audience wants from you to help you make decisions. You're going to go down a path and essentially get to a point where you're just burnt out, because you feel like you're creating in this sort of black hole, and it's not giving you anything except for a migraine, because you're trying to search for these trends. We made a video here recently, and I was just talking to you, and we were talking about strategy, but because we research trends and we want to understand marketing, what happens is somehow you can get caught up in the algorithm itself.
For sure.
But as much time as we spent watching those things, that didn't lead us to buy anything. It wasn't taking us in any direction, but it got the exposure. And a lot of the work that we do, the idea behind that is to help you turn your visibility into revenue. I thought it was important to say that because we want to help you get that blueprint. That's essentially what all of this is for, especially when we're talking about being built different. But on the other side of that, what we talked about to begin this video was helping you break down that $1,000 investment. Do you want to dive into that, or would you like me?
I could start.
Okay, so to get started, I think one of the things that I've done for quite some time with everything that I've decided to build is understand how to get people off of social media, beyond social media, to help them be a part of your community. And we've talked recently about the difference in between audience and a community. Your audience is your followers, the people who see you, come to you to watch your funny videos or whatever it may be. Your community is the people who feel like they're connected to you. They want more of you. And part of building that community, first and foremost for me, for us, and the way that we do these things, is building yourself some type of place where people can go and feel like they're not only with you, but with people who are also like themselves. For some of you, it could be an email newsletter, it could be a Mighty network, or some other way for people to engage. One of the things that we did early on for our clients here was build out an email newsletter. You can use ConvertKit, you can use MailChimp. There's a variety of different ones out there that we've used before. I can't even think of the other one right now, but we had to use it for our nonprofit client. And I can't remember the name of it for some reason. And it's not one of my favorites, but I'll figure it out. But so ConvertKit, MailChimp, they're usually between $20 to $30 a month, and you build out that list. And the reason why you want to do that is when you pull people off of social media, now they're directly to you. Now, granted, you're looking at roughly, depending on your industry, between 40 to 50% of people opening your emails. And if you're good at it, probably 2 to 3% will actually click on your videos or your products or whatever it may be. So if you build out a list of, let's say for a round number, 1,000 people, and 3% of those people click onto your videos, or 3% of your people click onto those products, now you're talking. That's how you get your audience engaged at a different level, and really how you begin the process of monetization. Because you want to get them to your website and help also build, if you go down the ads path, a way to reconnect with people who are similar to those people. If you're talking about Meta, it's a lookalike audience. So you're building out these systems to help yourself grow. And I think it starts with, maybe if it's not a Mighty network, an email newsletter where you can reach directly out to people. Again, ConvertKit, MailChimp, and the other one starts with a C. I'll figure it out here in a second. But you build out those things so you can reconnect with your audience in a different way, or your community rather, in a different way. But based on our experience and what you know about what we've done, what makes that so important?
The truth is, and we've talked about this often, if you've seen past episodes, which I hope you have, we have said this several times. Social media is borrowed land. It would be like building on somebody else's land. It's building your home on an uncertain foundation. That is one of the worst things you can do, right? So you're using social media to build the thing, not for it to be the thing.
Right.
I stole that from him, by the way. And
We like that.
it is. And if you have a product or a service, it used to take 5 to 7 touch points before somebody purchased. Now it's at like 10 to 12 touch points. That's a lot of freaking content. That's a lot of touch points to get to your audience before they purchase. But if they get off social media and they are intentionally choosing to join your email list, you are now having the ability to have a direct one-on-one relationship. It builds your credibility, it builds trust, it builds a community in a different way that you can on social media, because you're speaking to one person with every newsletter that you send.
Yep.
And also, if as a consumer, if I've intentionally signed up for your email newsletter, I am expecting to some capacity to be sold. So there's no shocker here where it doesn't feel like always being an ad, because I know that's what I came here for.
Yep.
The chances of someone buying and it being more an opportunity to sell, if you can send out 2 to 3 emails a week, the likelihood of your audience purchasing at least once a month is high. The chances of them coming back and being reoccurring revenue, or being able to purchase more often from you, or feel like they know you, is just so much greater. And if I'm not mistaken, I think on MailChimp up to like 500, and this is no ads or anything, by the way, we're not sponsored, but I think
But MailChimp, if you want to, come on.
we're here. I think it's like up to 500 emails, it's free. So there are ways to build your community and to build your email list in a way that doesn't
Or is that the
cost you money?
$20 a month one? The 500 emails.
I don't know. I know
There's a free
version.
I know ConvertKit actually has a free up to a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
MailChimp, I want to say it's $20 a month. The other one, I hate to cut you off, is Constant Contact.
Oh, yes.
It happened. But continue. I'm sorry.
No worries. And then the other thing that we know about having a direct link to your audience is the fact that like one email could make you $10,000.
Facts. Facts.
We have
seen
seen
it.
it.
We've seen it.
We've seen it where one email made our client money.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of monetization and power and control that you should have responsibly through and via your audience. If you don't have direct access to them, heaven forbid one of these platforms shuts down, which, I mean, TikTok is about to shut down, M2 is coming, if you don't know what that is, September 2025. As of this video, it hasn't been sold yet. China hasn't agreed to the sale. However, sources are that by September, you'll have to move over to M2, and then by March of 2026, TikTok will be gone. And they have not confirmed whether or not you'll be able to move your audience, or if you'll be able to copy your data and move over. So imagine you are a creator, you just spent the last 5 years building your audience, you've 2 million audience, and suddenly it's gone, and now you don't have a direct way to contact or connect with these people that you've spent the last 5 years building a relationship with. And so I said all that to say, this is the first and fastest way that you can do it, is take people off of social media and build with them through a newsletter.
Facts. I think the next step, well, actually, before I get to that, so if you do the math at $29 a month, I think if you get it at a certain level, it's $29 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So now you spend over the course of a year, based on that subscription price, $348. That's where we are. So between $300 and $350 for your email newsletter. Now, of course, you want to drive people somehow to that, so create great organic content, or you figure out another mechanism to get people there. The second part of it is helping you be more efficient with your content creation. So a couple tools that you can use, and this is not going to be novel information. This is just valuable information. So Canva Pro.
That's a must.
I spend so much time in Canva. Our team spends so much time in Canva because it allows you to be so efficient with what you do. There's a lot of templates that you can use with a variety of different things. And maybe at this point, since we're giving all this stuff, all of these people should, affiliates, come on, bro. Mess with us. But so let's say, now you spent $12 a month on Canva, that's another $144. And then you look at maybe an editing software.
Yeah.
Like, and it doesn't have to be like Adobe Premiere or Final Cut or any of those.
And actually, don't do that, because I did that. I did that in the early parts of my career.
Let me guess, you didn't use it.
And I never used it. Because it was too hard to use and I couldn't figure it out. So then I was like, you know what, CapCut, InShot, like, no,
And there's free, there's so many
There
free
are
tools.
free tools.
I mean, and now with the adoption of AI, and I can't say necessarily it's mass adoption because there's so many people who don't use it.
Yeah.
But with AI, you can use so many different templates that help you create your own content. CapCut will give you, if you put 10 videos in there, it will use templates to help create a video for you, especially if you do lifestyle or fitness or some type of, well, whatever, like any of those things.
Yeah.
Like there are templates everywhere in CapCut. So Canva, to me, I think is a must
Yes.
if you plan to build some type of creator business and work with clients who could potentially use those within their systems as well. So again, that's, let's say $12 a month, $144 a year. And then some type of free tool, maybe a free editing software, edits, you have edits,
Yep.
you have CapCut, you have InShot,
Which is questionable. Well, it's not even questionable.
even captions. Captions is another one.
It is. The only thing, this is not a recommendation just because of the new licensing and the all their issues with their
We are not affiliated.
we are not with the licensing and agreements that CapCut has changed with their current legal laws and whatever. But before that happened, there's the free version. But if I was to be a creator and I wanted to take it seriously, I absolutely would have done the CapCut Pro or like InShot are my two favorites.
Yeah. And of course, we also use Adobe Premiere. I mean, we actually have a lot of
We do.
editing software in addition to like people who edit and do all sorts of things. But there's what I want you to take away from even just the tools is now let's say for instance, you're roughly at about $500-600.
Yeah.
I'll figure out the exact number because it's the 348 plus the 144. It's somewhere in there. It's like 492, whatever the number is. And then you maybe find a free editing tool.
Yeah.
Edits. I don't think Edits is the best. However, it's an incredible
works.
tool for people who want to start.
Yeah.
And plus, I think there's something to be said about something to be said about when you're using the tools on those platforms. It helps boost engagement a little bit. And also when you use Edits, it provides some more analytics. And Edits is Instagram software. CapCut is TikTok's software, at least while supplies last.
Right.
But those are available to you. So now you have an email newsletter set up, MailChimp, ConvertKit, Constant Contact. You have a way to create your presentations, a way to create some carousels with Canva at $12 a month. And then you also have an editing software. So now, like you're ready to get off the ground and you've only spent $500.
And something to keep in mind is that consistency beats perfection every time.
Facts.
I always say that perfection isn't profitable. So with the systems and the tools that we're telling you to use, and this is how we would spend our $1,000 if we were starting our career over, and this is all I've got for the entire year, how would we use it? The other thing to consider as well is like, these are tools that'll save you about 10 hours a week in
At the minimum.
minimum 10
Yeah.
hours a week of your time that you could be creating content, doing something else, building relationships, speaking directly to your audience. The important part of all creator businesses or being a creator is to build trust and consistency with your audience. If you don't have that, you have nothing.
So we're going to talk about maybe 3 more investments.
Okay.
The next one I believe is important is your skill development. So skill development for me is something that I think provides value whether you're a creator or not. In that skill development, whether you're in corporate or as an entrepreneur, you're likely going to have to spend time developing your skills to get better at what you do. Now, we don't always think about it this way, but I spent a decent amount of time with corporate jobs. And there was always something that they were sharing with us to help get certifications, or we were taking courses to get better at our jobs. I'm the kind of person who I believe there's so much value in courses, but you have to take the ones that are right for you. When you take the ones that are right for you, it allows you to become better in every aspect of what you plan to do. Whether you think about it or not, even if you go to school, guess what? You're taking courses. Whether you want to become a doctor or an attorney, find your skill and build that skill by taking the courses that help you to grow that skill. That was off the top of the dome, by the way. Sometimes I'm just freestyling this stuff. So find courses. So personally for me, I spend $300 every quarter on sales courses just so I can get better at business and understanding the knowledge that's going to help me become better. Better as a storyteller, better with communicating with people, better with understanding people to allow us to grow our business. Now I'm certain of it. You can find courses anywhere between 100 to 500, and I'm sure there are some that are
Beyond.
probably 500,000. But maybe think about spending $200 to $300 on courses that allow you to drive people directly to now the landing pages that you've built, the email newsletter that you've built, through your content creation. Find the courses that actually make sense for you. If you want to become a better storyteller, go on, what's the thing that you can buy? There's another monthly subscription thing that I'm trying to think of. Masterclass.
Yeah.
Masterclass. Go Masterclass and learn how to storytell. And if you need to understand properly, and I'm trying to do this in like less than 30 seconds, how to properly tell a story. Think about a starting point. Where did you begin? What's the current problem that you have? And this also works for business. Think about the current problem that you have and where you want to go. What is stopping you from getting to the other side of that thing? So say, for instance, I wanted to lose weight. Right now, what I'm dealing with is I'm having, let's say, heart issues. And I'm probably going down the path I shouldn't be going down. But here we are. And I have heart issues, so it's necessary for me to lose weight. But the reason I have heart issues, what's preventing me from losing the weight is how I eat. So what do I have to do? That's the thing that's preventing me from losing the 50 to 100 pounds that I need to lose. So now what do? Since that is my resistance, which is part of the story, I have to take myself on this journey where I can get to the other side to become a better and more healthy person. So I gotta stop eating zebra cakes. I gotta stop eating oatmeal pies. I gotta stop eating cheeseburgers and pizza at midnight in order for me to become the person that I desire to become. So if you're framing your stories in that way, some way, somehow, you're gonna connect with people who have the same problems, the same issues, the same challenges that you deal with. And if you're thinking about content creation, it works the same way. Anytime I've delivered a sales presentation, my job is to tell stories. It's about the transformation. And if you're able to do that in a way that resonates with people, you're playing a completely different ball game, and you're going to take yourself to that next level. So find the courses that allow you to do those things and to develop the skills that are going to take you to the level that you want to go. Because right now, your story might be that you're that creator who's been trying this thing out, and you bought all of this equipment and you're not using any of it, and you're tired. Well, you're tired because of you've done all of these things and you're not making the money that you want to make. Well, in order to get on the other side, you probably should think about working with Mavericks, and they're going to help you get there. Who is Mavericks? That's us. Trust me, that wasn't a sale. It just came off the top of the dome. I felt like that was necessary to share.
That was crazy.
What do you have to add to that little spiel?
When I think of skills development, we say this often, that skills pay the bills.
Skills pay the bills.
Followers don't. So for you, it was sales. For me, it was marketing. I needed to learn how marketing worked. I have a media background, but also I have an English background. That's where my degree is in, and a political science degree. So my job literally revolves around understanding human behavior. And to understand marketing, or sales for that matter, you have to understand human behavior and how they purchase. But also, when I realized that the world was changing back in 2014, I was like, if I don't learn marketing, if I don't learn branding in 2019, if I don't learn AI, if I don't learn finances and financial literacy, and if I don't learn venture capital, none of what I do matters and none of what I do happens. And in addition, I can also charge more money for my services and for my knowledge because it's the skill sets that I have. Yep. You cannot fake skills. I can fake branding. You can. I talked about this in the VC video. You can fake branding. You can fake. There's confidence, but you can't fake conviction. You can't really fake the skill sets that you have, which is why we can tell the difference within minutes, at least for us, within a reel, who actually has the expertise and the understanding to sell the very thing that they think that they're selling. Otherwise, you will kill your business. You will kill your reputation. You will kill your branding, which is what people think about you, if you don't have the skill sets to actually execute and implement the very things you say that you have. So skills pay the bills.
And to that end, don't be afraid to learn.
For sure.
I think there's value in being a student and being genuine. One of the things I talked about with It's Gonna Hurt But It Won't Kill You, again, which is my book, is how transparency and the podcast.
Okay,
Hey man,
podcast. Listen to that.
we out doing a couple things. How transparency and vulnerability saved my life. I think the reason why that's so valuable is when you position yourself as a student, people will allow you to learn. And you take people on a journey, which again becomes a part of your story. And as they become a part of your audience, eventually you can get them to become a part of your community. We talked recently about the lady who created a Facebook group with moms so she can learn and build her business. And some way, somehow, she was surveying her audience. And that's how she made decisions about the things that she needs to create. And we've had conversations here recently with people who want to launch products. Hey, don't do that right now. Don't go out and buy the stuff. I had a bunch of I Am shirts when we were doing I Am Spoken Word, which was a subsidiary of Imperial Lighthouse Productions. And we bought a bunch of different shirts. We had the red ones, the green ones, the white ones, the black ones, the purple ones, the blue ones. I am not joking. I will find that stuff. But if you want to buy one, I probably don't have it, but if you want to buy one, let me know because of what I'm about to tell you right now.
That's crazy work.
You don't have to build things immediately. I've said before, I've sold stuff, Jesus, save me right now.
I've sold stuff.
I've sold stuff before we created it because I wanted to know if there was value for people. So there are ways for you to accomplish that. You can survey your community with systems like Typeform, Jotform, or go to Free Route with Google Forms. And for some reason I can't talk, so I probably should shut up. I need some water. But Typeform, Jotform, Google Forms, survey your community about what they want prior to you building it. Score App is another one, but I think Score App is like $69 a month or something crazy. Typeform has a free version, and then there's a $29 version. Then Jotform, I'm not exactly sure on the cost, but Google Forms is free. You can survey your audience with Google Forms to understand what your audience wants, what your community wants prior to you building it. Because guess what? It's likely that if you can't get them to take a survey, you probably cannot get them to buy a product.
Nope.
These are things that are so valuable because when you're looking at it from that perspective, a lot of people will tell you if you build it, they will come.
Nope.
That's not necessarily true. It's true in some cases, but if you build the right thing and you solve the right problems for the right people, then they will come.
Correct.
We've seen it time and time again. We had a client here recently, as we were rolling stuff out, we had a conversation about, all right, in order for us to curate the experience that these people actually want, why don't we push out a survey via Typeform for us and see what they actually want? It was a list of about 10 questions. Among those 10 questions was, how much would you be willing to spend on something like this? And through that information, gathering that data, it was about 89 people in less than a month. It was probably like 20 days who took this survey. And that was how we determined how much this should cost. Because of that, when we push it out, we were able to get people to purchase because we know that's exactly what they want. And when you can deliver in that way, you position yourself in a much better space because you've already engaged with your community.
What that makes me think about is if you've ever launched a product or a service and you wondered why your launch flopped, did anyone ask for what you built or for your service or from you?
Ooh, dang.
Sometimes we are frustrated by the results, but we didn't actually ask the people who would be purchasing, who are taking hard-earned money from their wallets and swiping their card, and they're paying you for something that cost them a lot of time.
Right.
And you may have put your heart and soul into building a product. You may have put your foot on that service. And you might be an expert of 20 years or 10 years or 5 years, and you're watching other course creators or other people who are doing it well and making money, and other coaches and you know, whatever services that you're like, okay, why is it working for them and not for me? But you didn't do a temp check with your audience to make sure this is what they wanted and if they wanted it right now. The best way to do that, that's why we're telling you, again, part of this $1,000, if that's where we had to start, you got your website, or you have Canva, you have,
With Canva, you can also build a website on.
Correct.
Ironically enough.
we've now done our skills development, and now we're talking about validating your audience. But you're going to do that through research. You're going to do that by asking them questions. This particular client that we're talking about, we didn't even start with the Typeform first. We asked in the comments, in the DMs. We were continuously engaging and helping her engage and getting really, again, a temp check on what they wanted from her and what their expectations were. Once we figured out exactly who her audience was, who she was speaking to, and what they wanted from her, we were able to move them over to a Typeform. Once we got them to a Typeform, and we were like, oh shoot, we thought she wanted this, but it's actually this.
Yep.
So now the product actually became more expensive because what they wanted was an experience.
Facts.
But you can't know that if you don't ask.
Hey.
And another example that I'll give, and we can take this out if it's not helpful, there's a board that I sit on, and I chose not to invest in this particular company, but I was good with getting advisory shares. And the conversations that we had with this particular founder was they thought that it was going in one direction. They thought their consumer would be this type of person. And we were like, are you sure it might be over here? And what ended up happening is they launched the product without validating their audience, without asking, and they ended up serving, and the launch flopped. They were serving the wrong audience. What ended up happening was it was an entirely different enterprise business, and that's not who they were going for. So now you're scrambling, trying to speak to an entirely different sector of people that you weren't serving. You can avoid that if you ask your audience what they want.
And I'm certain there are some AI tools that can help with all of this. We'll figure them out and probably create another video just to share that with you, because I think it's so important. We hear the terminology now, gatekeeping. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to share this with you because there are a lot of people out there who are really struggling to do this thing. And that's not to say we have it all together, because we don't. We're constantly learning. We are those students that we were just speaking about earlier. I think now we're at what, like $800? So let's say $344 for, what do we start with? I'm so confused.
That's a good question.
$344 for
Systems and foundation,
the systems,
email marketing.
Email marketing. So $344 with that. And then your tools for content creation. So your Canvas, your CapCuts. The next thing was your courses, skill development.
$100.
Well, no, because we'll say 100 to 300. So we're roughly at about somewhere between $700 to $800, depending on what you decide to purchase.
Also, YouTube is free.
YouTube, listen,
It's free.
there's a
so
lot
much
of game on
information.
YouTube. A lot of game on YouTube.
We're giving it to you for free.
A lot of game on YouTube. The next thing I would say is we talked about the audience research. So Typeform or Jotform or Google Forms. And then the next thing, you can go to Zen Business. You can go to LegalZoom. There's a bunch of other ones out there, but those are the ones that we're familiar with, or at least that I'm familiar with, to do your business formation. And now, I'm sure I might be judged by saying this, because there's a lot of people who told you, start your LLC. It doesn't necessarily have to be an LLC. It could be any form of business that you want. It's just the LLC is a pass-through organization that allows you to be taxed a certain way. That's why everybody tells you LLC. Also, I'm not a tax accountant, so listen, take what I say with a grain of salt.
Right. Go get an advisor.
LLC, S Corp, C Corp, depending on how big you are. You can start a sole proprietorship if you want to, but just know your taxes will be different. Or you can start a partnership, a general partnership.
Also, if you're a creator, let me make sure I say this loud and clear. Come closer.
Oh, here we go.
You do have to pay taxes. It's not free. That money should not be going into your bank account, baby. It should not.
Don't mix it.
Don't mix your business expenses. Don't mix your business, your contracts and what you get as a creator, the $500 to $250, whatever that is that you're doing, you will have to pay taxes on it. Uncle Sam wants his bread, okay? That was my disclaimer.
Uncle Sam definitely wants that. So you'll probably end up spending roughly between $100 to $200, depending on your setup. The reason I say that is because you can get documents, and then depending on where you form your business, your Delaware's, your Wisconsin's, they may have state fees that you have to pay in addition to that. So if you're listening to this, if you're in another state, you can also, I said Wisconsin, I meant Wyoming. You can also form businesses elsewhere. but check with your people. I'm not those people. I'm just saying you should spend that money to form your business, and then start a bank account for your business.
Please.
Now, of course, depending on how you set that business bank account up, there could be fees associated with that. I don't necessarily care which bank you start your account with, and I'm trying not to go down a path where I'm giving you bad information, by the way. But start your business bank account, get that set up so you can start building, and keep your expenses, your personal expenses, separate from all of those things.
Yep.
The next thing that I heard from a tax accountant, somebody who's a real tax accountant, not me, says to start a tax savings account. So you bring in revenue to your business and then take the taxes off the top of that. Now, of course, you have to consider your expenses before and after taxes as you do all of those things. But I mean, you go into depreciation, amortization, all those things, but that's not what we're here for. Again, I'm not a tax accountant. Get you a tax savings account, get you a business checking account, and then start building for there. So you're a little under $1,000 now, I think. But let's talk about what not to spend your money on. So
Lord.
first and foremost, you don't want to get the most expensive camera,
Use your phone.
because the likelihood of you using that camera early on, beginning this process, are low. Well, you'll probably use it, but you'll get frustrated on how much you spent on the camera because your lack of ability to use
Use
it
the camera.
properly. And then you're creating these high quality videos and nobody's watching them. Use this time to figure out if this is something that's actually going to work for you, and start building from there. Take in all of these lessons we've talked about on YouTube, the titles, the thumbnails, the first 30 seconds, and building out those things to understand your audience and what your community wants before you get too deep. And then I'll let you say the next few things.
The next one is purchasing multiple courses at once. You don't need them. YouTube is free if you need to learn, and you should be learning. Be a student of the game. The game is changing every 3 to 6 months now, especially with AI.
Man.
So you should be and have to be learning. If you are somebody who gets bored and you're like, oh, I don't know what kind of content to make, you're not learning enough. If you're like, oh, I don't know what's next or what to create, or you are lacking imagination or what to script, you're not learning enough. But YouTube is free. You don't need multiple courses. You don't need expensive courses. And for those of you that are creating courses, I'm sorry if I'm ruining your business, but the truth is most people are purchasing the courses that are not the right ones for them, nor are you interested in them, and or maybe it's just not the right time for you to be taking that particular course at that particular time. Okay, if you're starting the beginning part of your journey, learn as much as you can, get your free resources, get your life together, but pick one. You don't need multiple courses in order to decide what you're going to do, because 80% of you, like I said earlier, you're not going to finish it no way. So get your life together, okay?
And then, unless you are a fancy editor, you probably don't need any sort of fancy editing software.
Nope.
Unless that's your business. But there's a lot of editing tools out there. There's Final Cut Pro, there's Descript, there's Adobe Premiere, there's DaVinci, there's all of these other things that are out there. But if you're starting and you're not an editor, you probably just want to be using something like a CapCut or Edits, or maybe even a InShot or Captions. But there are so many tools out there for you to utilize. And then you probably don't want to run ads right now.
Oh God, no.
What we talk about for people within our business is we create great organic content.
Yes.
And that helps give us directives for the type of paid ads we likely should be doing based on how the organic content does. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you just put dollars behind bad content, because it's going to lead you down a path to nowhere. And as much as we all get frustrated by algorithms are just people watching or not watching your stuff. When you're thinking about the way that you develop your paid ads, if this is a path that you go down, start with what's working and not with what's failing to work for you. And then the last thing is these guru masterminds. Yes, there are a lot of people giving out a lot of information, but what you want to steer away from, and I would even say this about me if I was giving you information about stuff that I haven't experienced, is stop listening to people who haven't done what you want to do. There's people out there who are selling things, and basically you're when they tell you, hey, this is how you make your first $10,000 a month, they're
You are
probably
part of
selling
it.
you the $10,000. They're probably selling it to you.
Right.
So you want to steer away from those things as part of the investments within yourself. Now, of course, there's a lot to be said about all the stuff that's out there right now with AI content and a lot of people pushing a lot of different things out. YouTube now has set it up to where I think it's next month where they're not going to pay for AI
Yep.
content.
No AI generated
So,
content.
like-
or like if you just reshare.
Yeah.
Without any additional value to
Instagram
the
said
video.
Instagram said that, and
Yeah, it didn't matter.
they said they were going to kill your reach, and it ain't. I'm seeing a lot of people just sharing stuff. I feel like that was mine. It wasn't. I wish it was mine, but I feel like I'm just running on right now. But I just want you to, as you build your creative business, position yourself in a place where it's actually a comfortable bet on yourself. Invest in yourself while you're thinking about taking on that risk. If it is $500 to $1,000, hopefully this conversation was a little bit helpful for you, and you now have direction. So actually, I think it was a little bit under $1,000 if you
under.
combine all those tools. But you figure out your mix of those tools, and that becomes a part of your system. As we've talked about before, you want to have your content, your system, and your offer. But you want to reverse engineer those things. But before I close this out, I'm sure you might have a thought or two that you would like to share with the peoples.
I have no thoughts.
You have no
No
thoughts.
notes.
No thoughts, no feelings. But as we end this conversation, what we say each conversation is pick a problem, pick a person, pick a platform, and decide how you're going to build differently. But if you want to know, if you really, really want to know how you can start your business with no money, maybe watch this video right here, and we'll tell you how.